Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back at today with another fantasy football video. In today's video, I got you guys the Week 16 running back start or sit decisions. Now, in this week, there is no Thursday night football game. It goes from Saturday all the way until Monday night. Now, before I get in the video, I'd like to give you guys a word from my friends and my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com is my favorite way to play daily fantasy sports. Now, obviously, you guys are fantasy football guys. You love the NFL, but Overlay DFS also offers NBA games. I've been getting more recently into NBA for when the NFL season ends, and my sorrows of playing fantasy football are there. I love fantasy basketball as well on OverlayDFS.com, but we're going to talk about football here because this is a fantasy football channel. Now, there is a couple of game modes you can play on this website, but my favorite game is the progressive game. This week, the main progressive game is $22 entry, and the top 10% win 9 times your buy-in, which is $180. But if you hit the beautiful 12-0, you can win over $11,000, and it's going to continue to rise all the way until kickoff. It could be well over that by the time Sunday begins. So let's go into it, and let me show you guys how this works. It is very simple. You make 12 picks plus 3 alternate picks in case any injuries type or something like that has to happen, where that some games get voided. Now, right here, it's very, very simple. It is just one player versus another. Who scores more fantasy points? Anyone could do it. Even someone like me can. It's pretty easy. Drew Brees versus Ryan Tannehill. Dak Prescott versus Carson Wentz. Baker Mayfield versus Sam Darnold. Who scores many or more fantasy points? And there are many, many more options. So make sure you guys check out OverlayDFS.com. Link down below in the description. And we are back. Make sure to check out OverlayDFS.com. Link down below in the description. Let's get right into the video. Week 16 running back start or sit decisions. Now we start off with the Saturday slate. The first game here is Texans at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And are you really going to risk your fantasy football fucking championship? Your beautiful ringy ring. I got some really big rings, and I got a really big team on Ronald Jones or Peyton Barber or Carlos Hyde or Duke Johnson. These guys are all fucking duds. They're all a huge fucking risk to throw into your lineup. And unless you're feeling the most risky you've ever felt in your life, do not put any of these guys in your lineup. Sit down Rojo, sit down Peyton Barber, Carlos Hyde, and Duke Johnson. Next game here, we got the Bills at the New England Patriots. Not like two of the running backs in this game. I'm going to be starting up Devin Singletary in this game. Devin Singletary has been playing quite well the last couple of weeks. This is a game they're going to have to establish the run in. To beat the Patriots, you're going to have to be able to throw the ball and run the ball. And I think that the Bills could potentially actually pull an upset and win this game. I think that Devin Singletary is heavily involved in this game. I like James White in this game as well. I think that the Patriots can really only trust James White and Julian Edelman. So that is the only people on that team that is going to be getting the goddamn ball. And I think that James White gets the ball a lot in this game. A lot of dump-off passes from Mr. James White. I'm going to be sitting down Frank Gore in this game. That old fucking man really is not going to do enough for your fantasy team, especially up against this tough New England Patriots defense. I'll be sitting down Sony Michel because I just really have no trust of the man. That he has given me no reasons to trust him, so I'm just going to go ahead and let him ride the pine on my fantasy team. Next game here, the final Saturday game, is the Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. I'm just starting up Todd Gurley in this game. Obviously, the Cowboys absolutely shithoused the Rams last week, so Todd Gurley didn't get too much of an opportunity in that game. Up against the 49ers, I think that they have a bounce-back game, and this is a much closer game. Now, obviously, I thought that the New Orleans Saints versus the 49ers game would be very close, and that game ended up being a shootout, so maybe, just maybe, this game is a shootout, and Todd Gurley gets a bunch of rushing opportunities. Raheem Mostert also could be a good play. Obviously, last week he shit the bed for you, so he's got the next to him because I am a bit worried about this offense. Now they lost to the fucking Falcons. Like, can you really do that? But Raheem Mostert is still a guy that I would start in my lineup. I would just proceed with caution. We sit down Tevin Coleman. He hasn't done shit. Matt Breida haven't done shit. Now onto the Sunday slate of games. The first game here, we got the Steelers at the Jets, and the only two noteworthy plays in this game at any position is James Conner and Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, James Conner last week I thought would have just about an okay game up against the Buffalo Bills. He ended up finding that end zone and putting up an okay game, just like I thought. And now we're going to put James Conner right back into our lineup this week up against a trash New York Football Jets defense. Le'Veon Bell obviously has not been performing all that well this season. You drafted him in the top 12. Now you're just sitting there crying yourself to sleep every night thinking, why couldn't I have drafted Dalvin Cook? Why couldn't I have drafted this other guy? Why has Le'Veon Bell done this to me? But in this game up against the Steelers, you have to fire Le'Veon Bell up. You know if he's getting these dump-off passes, you know if he's getting the rock enough, he has the opportunity to score you 20-plus points to win your fantasy football championship. I'm going to be sitting down Jalen Samuels, Benny Snell, any of these other Steelers backups. When James Conner's in the game, you're going to have to go ahead and believe completely in it, even though I think there's potential for his re-injury to happen. That man is an absolute glass cannon. James Conner's a beast when he's healthy, but obviously he gets hurt so much that's why he's a glass cannon. He's a beast until you fucking hit him, and then he just ends up dying and fucking your team right in the ass. Next game here, we got the Saints at the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to be starting up Alvin Kamara in this game. Now, he is the next to him because Alvin Kamara really hasn't done shit this season. He's obviously a guy that is still a top 20 running back due to injuries and stuff, but at the end of the day, he really hasn't done much. But up against the Titans, a tough run defense, I do worry a bit, but Alvin Kamara is obviously a pass catching back, so he's going to be getting that work in the pass catching game. It's obviously impossible to to sit Alvin Kamara, so you're still obviously going to start him, but I would worry a bit this game, and I've been worried the last couple of games because he really has not been performing. Obviously, you're going to be starting Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry could have one fucking leg in the month of November or December, and he is going to just skull fuck your opponent. Knock one time if you're with me. I love Derrick Henry this week, even up against the Saints defense that let Marlon Mack only run for like 19 yards. I'll be sitting down Latavius Murray in this game when Alvin Kamara is healthy. I do not trust Latavius Murray. Now on to the next game here. We got the Panthers at the Colts, and if you guys have enjoyed the video thus far, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. Now, obviously, in this game, the Panthers at the Colts, you're obviously going to fire up Christian McCaffrey. That motherfucker is a must start. He absolutely dominates defenses, whether the fact that they're getting a new quarterback for the Panthers. They're playing Will Grier, but who gives a flying fuck, because Christian McCaffrey is going to see enough touches, enough dump-off passes that he's just going to absolutely eviscerate this Colts defense. Do a bit of this to the Colts defense. I believe Christian McCaffrey has a huge game. I am going to be sitting down Marlon Mack in this game. Marlon Mack didn't do shit last week. The Panthers defense may not be that good, but this Colts offense honestly looks down the dumps. Looks like a complete shit offense, so I'm really not going to trust my championship game on Marlon Mack. Next game here, we got the Bengals at the Miami Dolphins. So I'm going to be starting up Joe Mixon in this game. This is the juiciest matchup for Joe Mixon he's had all season. This Dolphins defense is beat up. It's fucking awful. And I think that Joe Mixon had a good game up against the New England Patriots, so he's playing up against an even worse defense. Now, I see no reason why Joe Mixon can't be a league winner for your fantasy football team. I believe that Joe Mixon goes in there and skull fucks the Dolphins. Knock one time if you're with me. I really like Joe Mixon this week. I'm going to be sitting down Pat Laird on that team. It seems like they're trying to use multiple backs in that defense with Myles Gaskin as well. I just really don't trust them, even up against this trash Bengals defense. Next game here, we got the Ravens at the Browns. I'm firing up every single running back in this game. You're firing them all off at all cylinders. Bang, 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 bang. Throw them all into your lineup. Start up Mark Ingram. Obviously, Mark Ingram has been balling out of control the last couple of games. The Ravens offense loves to run the goddamn ball, and I think that Mark Ingram has a big game up against this trash-ass Browns defense that Kyler Murray gave the good old smacking to last week. Nick Chubb is going to go full Chubb on this Ravens defense, even a defense that is pretty good. I still think that Nick Chubb is going to be able to ball out of control. He touches the ball so much, gets so many opportunities to find that end zone. Kareem Hunt as well. Obviously, he's not much of a running back. He's much more of a wide receiver. He gets thrown out there out wide. He's catching balls out of the backfield, and he's going to put up a good game up against the Ravens. Obviously, the defense limits the fact that he could be a potential top 15 guy, much more of a top 25 guy, but I still do like him this week, and that would put him in as a start in fantasy football this week. Next game here, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Atlanta Falcons. I'll be starting up both backs in this game, but I'm a bit worried about Devontae Freeman. Now, obviously, Devontae Freeman has actually been playing pretty good the last couple of games up against the San Francisco 49ers. He only got 12 touches when he's been averaging about 17 touches, so that does kind of worry me. But this week, he's got the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's obviously a plus matchup for him. But the thing I do worry about is this Falcons defense, or Falcons offense, looks different every single week. One week it's Julio Jones. The next week it'll be Austin Hooper. The next week it'll be Devontae Freeman. And then one week they'll just be completely terrible and no one will do anything. So that is my worry in this game. That even though the Jaguars fucking suck, that they just put up a shit game and shit stomp the Falcons in, and Devontae Freeman just does nothing. That does kind of worry me a bit. I'm going to be starting up Leonard Fournette in this game. Obviously, Leonard Fournette is the king of volume. He gets so many touches every single game up against this trash-ass Atlanta Falcons defense. There's no reason why Leonard Fournette has the opportunity to not be a top 10 running back. I think he has potential to be the number one back on the week. Next game here, we got the Giants at the Washington Redskins. And I'm going to be starting up Saquon Barkley in this game. Obviously, last week, Saquon Barkley let his nuts hang on that Dolphins defense. His best game of the year, the only fucking game he showed up this year. A little bit too late for a lot of people, but in this game up against the Washington Redskins, I see no reason why he can't really do the exact same thing. I think there's going to be some slight regression. I don't think he scores 30 fucking fantasy points again, maybe 25 points or 20 points, but that's still great up against this Washington Redskins defense. And AP was going psycho last week up against the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that Adrian Peterson has another good game. Last week he faced up against one of the top run defenses in the league and ran hog wild. This week he faces one of the worst overall defenses in the league, so I think that Adrian Peterson can have himself a day out there, even though he is an old fucking man. I'm going to be sitting down Chris Thompson in this game. Next game here, we got the Lions at the Denver Broncos. Horsecock Lock versus David Blau. And I'm going to be starting up Phillip Lindsay in this game. I know last week I said Phillip Lindsay was going to have a humongous game, and he really just didn't play all that well. Just had about an okay game. But this week, he gets the Detroit Lions, an even more plus matchup than the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, in that game, it was snowing a bit. That might have thrown the boys off. I think that Drew Lock, Mr. Horsecock Lock, has a bounce-back game, and so does Phillip Lindsay. So I like him in this spot on Sunday up against the Lions. I'm going to be sitting down Kerryon Johnson if he returns. You know, if you're in a super deep league, he was a waiver wire pickup, so you could throw him in there, roll the dice, and pray to the fantasy football lords up there. Say, please, fantasy lords, bless Kerryon Johnson's legs. Let's hope he doesn't break it or die out there. But this is so much of a committee. If Bo Scarborough plays, there's all these other fucking backs, Ty Johnson, and then there's some other no-name backs that'll just end up finding the end zone. So just do not trust any of these guys, really, unless you're in a super deep format that if Kerryon returns, you can go with him. I'm sitting down Rolls-Royce Freeman. I'm hearing some people talk about the fact that Rolls-Royce Freeman may be a bit of a sleeper pick this week, but I just don't believe it until I see him getting a majority of the touches, until I see him getting a lot of work out of the backfield and in the pass catching game. I just won't trust him, and I'll go with the ride or die Phillip Lindsay. Next game here, we got the Oakland Raiders at the LA Superchargers. I'm going to be starting up Josh Jacobs in this game. Josh Jacobs had a great game last week in the final game in Oakland up against Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that is a great game again this week up against the LA Chargers. That defense can't stop anyone. Put me in the pads. Let me run. Let me be Josh Jacobs. I will skull fuck this Chargers defense. Melvin Gordon last week put up a shitter, fumbled the ball a bunch of times. Coach said, sit the fuck on the bench. He didn't do anything. Austin Eckler, he was playing in the game, didn't really do much either, but this is a big bounce back spot for both of these guys. Playing up against the Oakland Raiders, a defense that is not all that hot. I think Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler have a good game, but I know last week I said, Nick, you said Melvin Gordon was the safer option, and Melvin Gordon shit the bed. What is wrong with you? He had one bad game the last couple of games. I fucking hate you. How could you not see that coming? You fucking idiot. And if I'm being honest with you, I do kind of agree with you. I think Austin Eckler may be the safer option in this game, but I still trust Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler to play both of them in fantasy football this week. Next game here, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to be starting up Kenyon Drake in this game. Last week, Kenyon Drake scored 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns. It might have been 3, it might have been 4. I don't even fucking remember. He skull-fucked that defense. It was beautiful. I cried a bit of tears of joy for Kenyon Drake, my man from the Miami Dolphins previously. I love that man. And at the end of the day, this week he gets the Seattle Seahawks. People are calling for him to not have that hot of a game, but I'm going to say that the Arizona Cardinals continue to feed the beast. Kenyon Drake in this game, when he puts up a top 30 performance, I think he has potential to be a top 20 guy in this game up against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. I'm also going to be starting up Chris Carson. Chris Carson has been absolutely dominant, and this week he gets the easiest matchup out of anyone besides Joe Mixon. Chris Carson is going to be able to slap up the Arizona Cardinals. Knock one time if you are with me. I love Chris Carson's matchup on the week. I'm going to be sitting down David Johnson in this game. Shout out to Rashad Penny. Sit him down as well. He is on the Next game here, we got the Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles, and you better believe you're starting up 2 running backs in this game. Ezekiel Elliott has been running pretty hot the last couple of games. Obviously, Tony Pollard comes in after they skull fuck a team, but you don't really have to worry about him early in the game. Ezekiel Elliott will put up his numbers before Tony Pollard can even get into the game, if that is possible. I love Ezekiel Elliott in this game up against the Eagles defense. Even though they're a tough run defense, he gets the ball dumped off to him enough to warrant him being a start. He has a potential game where he could just skull fuck the Eagles. I like Miles Sanders in this game. Last week, he caught the ball, put his ass into the end zone, and scored. It was beautiful. Miles Sanders put up a big game. I think this week up against the Dallas Cowboys, he could do the exact same thing. I really think that Carson Wentz is going to rely heavily on Miles Sanders since this wide receiver core is so beat up. Boston Scott is a sit for me, and if Jordan Howard plays, he is a sit for me. But if Jordan Howard sits, I kind of like Boston Scott in the super deep leagues as a sneaky flex option. Next game here, we got the Chiefs at the Bears. I believe this is the Monday night special, and it is not. This is the Sunday night game, Chiefs at Bears. I'm going to be starting up Tariq Cohen in this game. Now, I know I don't really believe in Tariq Cohen all that much, but this is the game where I think he gets a lot of work. They're going to need to pass the ball heavily to beat this Chiefs team, and I think that Tariq Cohen just gets a lot of opportunities out of the backfield to catch the ball. Now, if you are not in a PPR league, do not start Tariq Cohen. He is useless unless you are in a PPR league. I'm sitting down LaShawn McCoy, Damian Williams if he returns, Darwin Thompson. That backfield for the Chiefs is a bit too confusing for me, and David Montgomery just haven't done shit, and even up against the Chiefs defense that isn't the greatest against the run, I really just do not trust David Montgomery in my championship game. And the final game here, the Monday night football matchup between the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to be starting up all the backs in this game, given some are healthy and some aren't healthy. So I'm going to be starting up Aaron Jones in this game. Jamal Williams, to me, is probably a sit in this game. I didn't even list him because he really hasn't done much the last couple of games. Dalvin Cook, in my opinion, not going to play. I really doubt he plays, but if he plays, you throw him in. If Cook is out and Madison is healthy, you throw Madison in. If Cook is out, you play Boone, and if Madison and Boone are in, I think you play both of them, but I think Madison gets the upper edge in points in that game. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you ended up enjoying, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. Knock one time if you're with me. I love each and every single one of you guys. Make sure to check out overlaydfs.com. Link down below in the description. Click on one of the videos over here or down here. I love each and every single one of you guys. Make sure to come back for more videos today. I love you all. Goodbye, my friend.